What's up? Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on this video. So I was MIA for the past 2 weeks, but that's because my little sister came to visit me here in Maryland, and I just wanted to make sure that I was with her and just, you know, focusing on having that quality time. And yeah, but now I'm back to making videos because I really enjoy making them. And for today, I just want to share a couple of things that I have learned in my 20s. I'm still in my 20s, but these are things that I learned that have helped me tremendously. I mean, they have even shaped me to be the person that I am today. And I wish some of these things someone had told me when I was younger, so that I wouldn't be so in my head. So this is not me telling you do this and you will be happier, or stop doing that and you will be more successful. This is just me sharing some of the experiences and things that I have gone through that have, you know, helped me in one way or another. So they are in no particular order. I'm just gonna be going over them. I did write them down on my phone, and maybe you're going through similar situations and potentially they could help you. So anyway, the first thing that I wrote down, again, no particular order, I wrote down, stop being afraid of failure and embarrassment. Most of us know that the reason we don't do certain things is because we are afraid to fail and just scared to feel embarrassed. I personally know that I did not do a lot of things when I was younger because I was just scared. I was embarrassed. I cared too much what people thought about me. Now that is not the case. I literally dance to my own beat. I don't really think about what people are thinking about me. I mean, when I started the YouTube channel, I thought, who cares? If nobody watches my videos, then at least I have them for myself to look back on when I'm older. And when I started to change my mentality, and I started to think, I'm doing things for me and how they make me feel, not for what others will think. My happiness, or the range of happiness that I experienced, was so much larger because I was doing things that made me happy, regardless of if people thought they were lame or stupid or cringe. I don't care anymore. So if you are stopping yourself from doing things that make you happy because you're scared that somebody else is going to judge you and think you're a loser, you know, whatever other words, I say to you, stop that toxic behavior, because people are gonna talk no matter what. You could be the president of the United States and people will still be unhappy with you. So start doing things that you wanna do. If you fail at something, then at least you know, hey, that's not my forte and I'm okay with that. And you move on to finding something that perhaps is. But without failure, you are not going to find who you are and who you're not. The next thing that I wrote down was comparing myself to others. This was something that was very toxic, something that is very toxic. However, when I was younger, I always compared myself to people who were good at sports, to people who were, you know, tall, slim, pretty, had blue eyes, etc. And those are just things that I physically have no control over. I can't control how tall I am. I can't control the color of my eyes, the color of my hair. I cannot control any of that. But what I can control is the way I see myself. I quickly learned, I want to say in college, to stop comparing myself to others, because I would see people, you know, going to school or going to class in pajamas, and they were the nicest people, the happiest people, and you know, their appearance didn't matter to them, which in turn didn't matter to me. So I was like, why do I care so much to compare myself to other people that aren't even in my life? Because their beauty is unique to them. Like, there's no other person that looks like them unless they have a twin. But there's also no one else that looks like you. So your beauty is unique in its own way. So I would say start appreciating who you are, what you look like, because you may be beautiful to someone else, but to yourself you may think you're the ugliest little duck, which you're not. Just start seeing your beauty for what it is. Another thing that I tragically, sadly learned about relationships, have only had 3 boyfriends in my entire life, but the first 2 obviously did not end well. Well, the first one really was catastrophic. Like, I don't know what I was doing there. So I would say if you are in your 20s and you are in a relationship where you are upset 90% of the time, you probably should leave that relationship. My first relationship, I saw everything through pink colored lenses, or whatever that saying is. I thought he could do no wrong. I thought he loved me, he respected me, he wanted to be with me because he loved me. I was very wrong. I learned that being in a relationship out of comfort is not right. I was with this person for 3-4 years, and I thought this is normal. I thought, you know, the things that I was experiencing were part of the relationship, but then I realized it's not. It's not okay to be unhappy 90% of the time you're with this person. So I left that relationship in a very negative environment, which kind of affected my future relationships. Then my second relationship, we wanted different things and we just kind of drifted apart and we ended in good terms. I respect this person and, you know, the best to them. I'm just saying, don't focus all of your time, energy, your persona, everything. Don't focus every little aspect of who you are into this relationship, because in a relationship there are 2 people, not just like one whole person. You cannot stop being who you are because you're in a relationship. You still need to have, you know, outside friends. You still need to have activities, hobbies, things that you do as an individual that bring you happiness. Because when I was in my relationships, I quickly cut out friends. I quickly stopped doing things that brought me happiness because I wanted to dedicate my full-time attention to this one person. But if we're not both seeing eye to eye, it's always going to be feeling like a give and never a give and take. I learned to prioritize myself in a relationship, but also prioritize my partner in a healthy balance. What I learned in my early 20s was to also travel, see the world, experience cultures, just become a more well-rounded, knowledgeable person about how the world works, because the only way to really see how, you know, the world works is to physically travel. I found out that I really enjoyed traveling, so I did that for, you know, a good part of my early 20s, and I'm so glad and so thankful that I did that. If I looked back now and I had not done any traveling, I would be devastated. I would be so unhappy and so upset at myself that I let so much time go by without traveling, exploring, seeing the world. So I would say, if you can, travel, even if it's just, you know, in the same country, in the same state, like, it doesn't matter. Or just go camping, go fishing, do things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone. When you're pushed outside of your comfort zone, you learn things about yourself that you would not have learned otherwise. So, for example, I went snowboarding once and completely sucked at it, fell, hurt my back, but then I realized I didn't find that much joy in that. I was cold the whole time, I was blinded, I would keep getting hurt, but had it been an experience that I enjoyed, I would have pursued it and kept doing it and, you know, maybe enjoyed it. But had I never gone skiing or snowboarding, I would have never known if I liked it or not. So the fact that I did it, I realized, okay, this is not for me, but I tried it and move on. So I would say same thing with traveling. Explore, learn, enrich your life. Alrighty, so this one is a little bit hard and just something that I still struggle with. However, had I known this, you know, early college years, I think it would have saved me a lot of tears, time, grief, all that fun stuff. And I wrote down, accept what is and let go of what isn't. Kind of tying a little bit back to my relationships. I was in a relationship that I did not want to let go because deep down I felt like we could make it work. And I am telling you that I spent countless nights crying and feeling bad for myself and feeling like I wasn't good enough when I should have, you know, been spending time with friends and just doing things that actually brought me joy and didn't make me cry. I had to learn to accept what was and let go of what wasn't. I'm a religious person, so I learned that God gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. And to me, it's just crazy because then I think, how many things do we hold on to that are stopping us and preventing us from reaching and finding the things that really do bring us happiness and joy? It's like crazy. The thing is, you never know these things and it just sucks. You know, let's say that you have news that you didn't want to hear. For example, you lose a family member, you lose your job, you lose something. Learn to accept that it happened and move on from that. I would tell myself to just accept what is and let go of what isn't, because what is meant to happen will happen, and everything, as cliche as it sounds, everything does happen for a reason. I don't feel like I'm this super wise person. However, now that I'm older, when something goes completely wrong, I learn from it. I may not want to, but I know that I have to move on from that. Like, I can't stay in that negative mentality. So I would tell you the same thing. Let go of what isn't and accept what is. Okay, this one is a big one. If I did have to put these in order, I think this one should be towards the very top. And that is to prioritize your health. When I was in college, I didn't have health insurance, so a lot of the times when I was sick, I would just write it out and wait it out, and hopefully I would get better. But now that I'm older and I see things differently, I feel things differently, I quickly realized that my health is honestly probably the #1 concern or thing that I am very cognizant about. I would tell you, please, please, please prioritize your health. Because if you don't, you may be going through something that could perhaps been prevented had you known about it sooner. I'm going through something right now that is a little worrisome. I'm not gonna cry, it's way too early for that. But I am just kind of going through something right now that had I, you know, seeked medical care sooner, I could potentially be in a different situation. I'm literally begging you, I am asking you, please go get checked out. Like, have a physical every single year. Because a lot of the time, just because you feel well does not mean that everything internally is going well. So I used to, when I was like in college, I used to say, well, I'd rather spend, you know, like the $100 that I would spend at the doctor's with my friends, going to Vegas or going to amusement parks or whatever. Had I known then what I know now, I would 100% tell you that I would have easily, in a heartbeat, taken that, you know, let's just say like lump sum of money and gone to the doctor instead of gone with friends and done some whatever kind of activity. Prioritize yourself and your health, because you can't enjoy life if you're not healthy. Have an annual exam every single year. And if you want to go a step further, get lab work done, because that's really going to tell you if there are any inconsistencies with your health. I don't want to sit here and tell you save money and blah blah blah, because we all know that, right? But I wish that I would have told myself, younger me, to have an emergency fund. There were some things that happened that I was not prepared for. And so I would say if you are in your 20s, have an emergency fund, because you never know what is going to happen. Had I had an emergency fund, I probably would not have been as stressed out as I was. So I wish that I would have had that. So if you don't, please start one. Even if it's like $20 a month, please put it aside, leave it there, invest it, put it somewhere where it will be safe or earning you money. Spend time with family. This is something that I'm very proud of myself for doing. I am the kind of person that I will never, ever put money, work, anything over my family. When I was back in Utah, I went to every single basketball, baseball, volleyball, track, everything. I went to every single game that my siblings had, because those are the memories that I know that I'm going to carry with me forever. And I am just happy that I was able to do that. I know not everybody can, but if you are able to spend time with your family, granted, if they're toxic or really bring you no happiness in life and just they're not good people to be around, then maybe that's a different situation. But if you have loved ones, please spend time with them. See them as much as you can. I recently lost my grandma and my grandpa from my mom's side of the family, and I wish that I would have spent more time with them. It's too late now. Obviously, I can't do anything about it, but I would say if you have grandparents, spend time with them. It honestly means so much to them, more than you can even imagine. But that's like undivided attention, not visit your grandparents and spend the whole time on your phone. See your loved one. Something else I learned in my 20s is to admit fault when I am wrong. I know a lot of people that fall back on the regular or typical, well, that's who I am, and if they don't like it, they can leave. No, that's honestly, in my opinion, a toxic trait. Because if who you are is toxic and you're telling people to deal with it, that's not right, and you yourself know that. If you have toxic traits, I would say try to acknowledge them, try to better yourself, because it's not really for other people, it's for yourself. When I was younger and in my relationships, I was wrong, I would not admit it. I would beat around the bush and eventually wait it out till things got better, but I wouldn't really admit that I had done anything wrong. Now, whenever I do something wrong, or, you know, because I'm not perfect, I admit that and I ask for feedback and just try to work on myself. My first relationship, I was blindly trusting of the person I was with, okay? Completely. I thought they could do no wrong. And then they really effed me over, and then in my next relationship, I became like the complete opposite. I was jealous. I was always worried about who they were talking to, what they were doing, etc., etc. And that just brought me so much unhappiness, and I'm sure also so much unhappiness to the person that I was with. And obviously it led to nothing good because we ended up breaking up. I'm not saying it was all my fault. They had issues themselves too. Admitting fault does not mean you're weak or that you are not worthy. It just means that you are growing as a person. Now, when I do something, you know, that I know is wrong, I own up to it. For example, I am very slow at doing things because I want them done a specific way and I want them done well. But sometimes this affects my time management. So the other day, Anthony, you know, got a little upset because I took a long time doing something and it made us late for something else. But instead of sitting there and pointing fingers at him because I was upset, I just said, okay, you know, I acknowledge that I took a lot longer doing what I was doing and it made us late, and I owned up to it. Like, yes, it was my fault. I'm slow. I lost track of time, and we quickly talked about it, resolved the issue, squashed it, moved on. But old me would have been fuming that anybody called out my flaws, because how dare you point out things that I did wrong, you know? But now I learned that your loved ones are literally giving you feedback on how to live, you know, a better life. And if they are pointing out some of my flaws, is because I need to work on them, and I shouldn't immediately be defensive. I should be accepting the feedback and working towards being better. So if you are in your whatever age you're in, and if you do not take feedback well, and every time somebody says something about who you are or how you do things and you immediately get defensive and start swearing and whatever else happens, I would tell you, take a step back and see where they're coming from. Now, if they're just being, you know, plain hateful and rude, disregard. But if they're actually telling you things that you could be working on, that you could be changing, then maybe hear them out, because they could be right. They could be seeing you from a different perspective that you don't see yourself. Hopefully some of this made sense. Hopefully you accompanied me on this wild train of thought. Again, this is not me sitting on a high horse telling you this is what you need to do and this is what you need to avoid. This is just me sharing some of the things that I have learned that have kind of put me in a situation where I'm happy with life. Even though I have some serious shit going on right now, I am still happy because I know that things could always be worse, but things can always be better. So I'm trying to stay positive. I'm trying to move forward. And life is more fulfilling when you are happy and accepting of what is. So hopefully you learned something from this video, and if you learned nothing, then I hope that this was entertaining. But I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!